Good morning, welcome to Wednesday the 3rd of March. Today's maths skill is to find decimal numbers that add up to 1. Okay, so keep pushing really hard to try your best. Okay, let's look at some arithmetic. So you have got 11 times tables, you have got partitioning, and you have got a goal challenge. Okay, your partitioning for your silver, just check your place value really carefully because the numbers are very similar. Okay, and then you've got your goal challenge, which is obviously 4-digit numbers multiplied by 1-digit numbers with the exception of number 5. But you're getting really good at multiplying by 10. Okay, so pause the video, take your time and come back when you're ready for the answers. Okay, here we go. Like I said previously, just do double check your silver answers, okay, because it can be quite tricky to get those in the right order. Super job. Okay, let's recap. So each box in this 100 square represents 1/100th of the whole. Okay, so there's 10 across, 10 down, so there's 100 altogether. So we have got 0.55 plus 0.35. What is 0.55? Okay, we know 0.55 represents 5/10 and 5/100, which we can shade like this. And then we're going to add 0.35, which is the same as 3/10 and 5/100. Or 35/100. Okay, so we know that our total now is 90 because we've got 10 left at the bottom, but it's not 90 because it's not a whole number. So it's 0.90 or 0.90 or 0.9. You don't need that 0. Okay. How many more squares do we need to shade to make one whole? So a whole is 100 out of 100. So this whole square will be full of colours if it was a whole square, but it's not. How many left over do we have? How many white squares have we got? Okay, we've got 10 squares. What is 10 squares as a decimal? So if we've got 10 left out of 100, what is that as a decimal? Okay, it's 0.1 or 0.10. It's 10 out of 100. Okay, so have a go at this one. So we've got 0.25 plus something equals 1. So we know 0.25 is the same as 2/10 and 5/100. And we know that one row is 1/10. So we've got 2/10 and 5/100, so it's 5 squares. 5 out of the 100 pieces. Plus something equals 1. How are we going to find what that something is? What's the missing number? Well, we know that one whole is the whole square. It's 100 pieces. And we know that we've got 25 out of the 100. So if we shade the rest, how many do we need to shade? Okay, we're going to shade 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 full rows because there's 7/10 and there's 5/100. So 0.25 plus 0.75 equals one whole. We know that 25 plus 75 is 100. Okay, so this is less than 1, so it's 0.25 plus 0.75. Okay, using your number facts, okay, your related number facts, how else can we write this addition? So 0.25 plus 0.75 equals 1, which is the same as what? 0.75 plus 0.25 is 1. How else can we write it with those with those digits there, so using all three of those, how else can we represent this calculation? We can do 1 subtract 0.25 equals 0.75, and 1 subtract 0.75 equals 0.25. All related number facts. Okay, so how about this one? We've got 0.32 plus something equals 1. We can shade 3/10 and 2/100. So we've got 32 out of our 100 pieces shaded. How many have we got left to shade? Okay, well, we can count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 full rows and 8/100. So 0.32 plus 0.68 equals 1 whole. Okay, and that's the same as 0.68 plus 0.32, and 1 subtract 0.32 is 0.68. Okay, so it's just the inverse, so 1 subtract 0.68 is 0.32. So the bottom two are the inverse of the top two. Okay, what do you notice about this one? Why is it different? Okay, so this time we've got three separate digits, numbers, okay, which make up our whole. So we've got 0.2. Am I going to shade 2 squares? No, because 0.02 is 2, 0.2 is 20. Okay, and then I've got 0.35, which is 35 squares. How many squares have I got left to make a whole? Okay, so these two, 0.2 plus 0.35 is the same as 0.55. How many do we have left? 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. Okay, so equals, add 0.45 equals 1. Getting all tongue twisted here. So 0.2, so that's 2/10 plus 0.35 plus 0.45 equals 1 whole. Okay, over to you to have a quick practice. So on the resources page, there are 300 squares, not 300, there are 3 100 squares. Okay, you don't need to print them if you haven't got a printer, that's absolutely fine. You can draw them in your books. Okay, what I would like you to do is, for your first one, I would like you to shade part of the square in one colour. I don't mind how much, any amount you like. And then I'd like you to colour the second part of the square a different colour. So you might want to do the first part red and the second part blue. But I would like you to write the calculation to show which two decimals you've added together to get your whole number. Okay. For your second and third squares, you can split your square into as many parts as you like. Okay, so you might want to do 0.25 plus 0.25 plus 0.25 plus 0.25 in 4 different colours. Okay, it's up to you. As long as you can write the calculation correctly to represent the decimals which make up one whole, you can add as many parts as you like. But for the first one, just stick with 2, okay, just to build your confidence and to show you how the numbers come together. Okay, so pause the video, take your time and come back when you're ready to move on. Okay, so we can also use, ignore that, because I was going to do part-whole models, but part-whole models didn't really represent it very well. It was quite difficult because I think bar models are actually easier because you can see the difference in sizes. So I've changed all my plan to use bar models after what took me forever to make all the part-whole models. I've changed it, but I just forgot to change this word, so I'm sorry. So let's look at the bar models to see how we can represent decimal numbers that equal 1. So we can see here we've got 10 as our whole number, and then we've got 3 parts and 7 parts. With the bar model, we know that 3 plus 7 equals the whole, and the whole take away 3 equals 7, or 10 take away 7 equals 3. Have a look at this bar model. What would my top number be? What's going to be my whole number? Because we can see we've got a decimal here of 0.3. What's going to be my whole number? Okay, well, it's going to be 1, because we find our skill today is to find numbers, decimal numbers that add up to 1. Okay, so it's not going to be any more than that. The whole number is going to be 1. This one here is just to show you the difference. Okay, so it's just giving you an idea of what this side's going to be. So if we've got 0.3, we've got 1, because this here is part of 10, like 0.3 makes up a part of 1. What's going to go in this gap here? Okay, we're going to have 0.7. And you can see that this 10 here has been divided by 10 to get to 1, 3's been divided by 10, and 7's been divided by 10. So these numbers here are 10 times smaller. Okay, what about this one? So this example shows a whole number of 100 and a part as 25 and another part as 75. So I've got 0.25 here. What's going to go up here? What's going to be my whole number? I wonder how well you were listening to what I just said previously. The whole number is going to be 1. Okay, because we're only looking at decimal numbers that add up to 1. Okay, so we've got 1. What can I add to 0.25 to get to 1? You can think back to your 100 square. If I've coloured in 25 parts out of my 100, how many parts am I going to have left? I'm going to have 75 parts, so it's 0.75. Okay, and then lastly, I've got 1,000 this time. I've got 450 and 550, because that's a number bond. Those two numbers add up to 1,000. Okay. Oh, this time my whole number's already there for me. I've got 1. And over here I've got 0.550. Now 0.550 we know is the same as 0.55. So don't let that extra 0 on the end confuse you. That's what it's there for. It's trying to trick you. Okay, so on the left, what's our missing number? It's going to be 0.450. Okay, so it's the same as 0.45 or 0.55. Excellent. Okay, so have a go at drawing and completing these bar models. Okay, so you've got whole numbers at your top, and then you've got 0.4, 0.44, 0.444, and down here is a bit of a challenge. This one's got 3 parts to it. See if you can complete the missing parts. Be careful with these ones that you don't fall into a certain trap. Remembering that if we're adding 2 numbers, okay, remember about exchanging and how we carry over into the next column if it equals more than 10. Okay, so think carefully about that. And again, think about that 100 square. How many pieces are you going to colour in? How many pieces will you have left? Okay, and this one's the same as this one really, but it's got the extra, it's got a thousandth rather than tenths and hundredths. Okay, and whilst you wait, if you finish that quickly, how many different ways can you make one with 3 parts? And perhaps you can represent that as a whole part model. Because again, when I originally did this as whole part models, part-whole models, I put the 1 in, and then the 3 circles that were coming off, you can't see what proportion they are. And I think bar models really help to show how big the number is that you're looking for, the missing number. It indicates, it's a good indication of what the number might be. Because you know this number here isn't going to be 0.1. Because if it was 0.1, it would be a lot smaller than this box here. And you know it's not going to be 0.85 because it'd be much bigger than this box. Okay, so use the size of the boxes to help you. Pause the video and really do take your time. Think about adding and subtracting the decimals that we've done so far. Think about number bonds to 10, 100 and 1,000 and number pairs, and also think about the 100 squares that you've just been doing. So good luck and come back when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so the first one, we have got 0.4. To add to that's the same as 4/10. We're going to add 6/10 to get to 1. So that will make 1 whole. We've then got 0.44. Now hopefully you didn't fall into the trap of saying it was 0.64. Okay, because it's 0.56. I was hoping you wasn't just going to copy this bit here and just add a 4 on because there was a 4 here. I'm hoping that you worked out that the 6... Oh, that shouldn't be 5/6 anyway. It should be 0.56. Oh no, I hope I haven't done it for all of them. That should definitely be 0.56. Okay, but the 6 and the 4 make 1 whole, which would be carried over then to the tenths. 5 and the 4 is 9/10, but you add that 1 on, add the 10th on to make 10/10, which is a whole. Okay, and then this one up here, we've got 0.444. Okay, so we've got 0.556. So just like this one, which should be 0.56. Okay, we've got an extra thousandth this time, or an extra, yeah, so we've got the extra thousandth on the end, so 0.444. Okay, so it just makes it 0.556. And I'll just quickly show you. So if we've got 0.444, the 4 and the 6 we add together, which will give us 10. So our 0 will go here, our 1 goes underneath, it carries over. We've then got 4 add 5, which we know is 9, but we're going to add this one, which is going to give us 10 again. So our 0 goes here and we carry the 10. And then we've got 4 add 5 is 9. But we've got a 1 here, which also makes it a 10. So we put a 0 there and our 1 here, which gives us 1.000, which we don't need. We just need the 1. Okay, it's 1 whole. We don't need those zeros. Okay, so think carefully about how you can represent this column addition in a bar model, and always go back to column addition if it helps you to work these out, or subtraction, whatever you find easiest. And it also depends on what number's missing. Okay, and then lastly down here we have got 3 parts to our 1 whole. And I was quite kind to you this time, because I've given you the whole number, but I've given you 0.25, and I've given you another box which is exactly the same size as this one, and this box is 2 times the amount of this one. So this whole box is the same size as these 2. Does that give you a clue? Okay, so we've got 0.25 plus 0.5, because this is half, 0.5 is half of 1, this is a quarter, this is a quarter. And we know 2 quarters make a half. Okay, excellent. Okay, have a read of this and pause the video. Okay, you probably, if I were you, I'd be writing this out, okay, and to help me explain it. Because Tommy thinks that 0.333 plus 0.777 equals 1. Okay, so do you agree with Tommy? Can you explain what his mistake was? Okay, have a think. Perhaps you might want to try it, see what he says. But do come back and I shall tell you the answer. Okay, so we've got 0.333. And Tommy thinks it's plus 0.777. But Tommy is incorrect. Tommy's forgotten that he needs to exchange when there's a 10 in a place value column. Okay, so the correct answer should actually be 0.667. Okay, I'm going to show you now. So, if we've got 0.333 and we're adding, like Tommy says, 0.777, 7 as 3 does equal 10. So we put our 0 here and carry the 1. That's fine so far. Okay. But then we've got 3 add 7, which is also 10. But this time we need to add that 1 on, which is going to put 1 there. Then again, 3 add 7 is 10, plus this 1 is 11. 0 add 0 is 0, plus this 1. So if we add 0.777 to 0.333, we actually get 1.110. Okay, whereas in actual fact, if we had 0.667, it would equal 1 whole. Okay, well done if you managed to work that out. It's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging for you. Hopefully your brains were working okay today. But super job today, guys. I shall see you this afternoon for PE. Okay, and anyone that's in my World Book Day group tomorrow, I shall see you then. If not, I'll be back on Friday morning for maths too. So have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you very soon. Okay, take care. Bye.